Okay, that's just going now. Yep. Okay. Hi guys. For round two of Six Nations Roundup, hope you're all keeping fine. I've got Brandon from BIS Rugby here with me. We've been trying to get some videos the past couple of weeks, but for technical difficulties, it's been quite challenging to say the least, and we haven't been able to get them out. But this should be a good one. So, how you doing, Brandon?
Yeah, good. Enjoyed the weekend of rugby. The weather it isn't the greatest at the minute, so hopefully the connection will stay throughout the podcast. But looking forward to a good rugby chat.
Yeah, I hope so. Hope so too. We don't want another thing failing on us again. Okay, we'll just roll it, see how it goes. So, we'll just go through the games. Obviously, Ireland against Wales, 24-14 to Ireland. Disappointing from a Wales point of view. What did you think?
Yeah, disappointing, but it was all in that first half. I felt Ireland first half deserved to win. Absolutely deserved to win with a better team. We're more physical. We're more up for it. We're more creative. I felt they exploited our weaknesses very, very well. They targeted certain players very, very well. And Ireland went back to basics. You couldn't really see that much difference between an Andy Farrell team and a Joe Schmidt team. The pick and go was very, very effective, getting over the game line. They were extremely successful in doing that. I just felt like the first half was really where the problems were. For Ireland to have 65% possession in that first half alone, we were always going to struggle. And the one time we did actually attack, we looked good. But we could rattle through the tries quickly. First try, well, Tompkins is at fault for that one. He rushes out the line. If he holds his position, if he holds his ground, Wales are actually 3-on-2 players. They're Halfpenny's covering it. There's no issues. He doesn't need to fly out. But that's the difference between coming on for 15 minutes against Italy and starting against Ireland away in the Six Nations. That's the difference. But yeah, very disappointing. I feel like the big point in the game was that scrum in about the 60th minute, where we'd been in there 22 for probably about 10-15 minutes. We dominating. Hadley Parks nearly scored a TMO correct decision, absolutely. And yeah, they win the penalty on the scrum. And I just knew it then. I was like, game over. That's it. I think I may have messaged you like, game over.
Yeah, you did.
And yeah. So that scrum was a real momentum shift. And Ireland cleared their lines, and we had to score there if we wanted to get back into the game. But congratulations to Ireland. They were better than us. They deserved to win. And CJ Stander, I think Welsh and Scottish people hate him equally right now.
Oh yeah, he was an absolute beast again. I think he's definitely considering Munster aren't doing that well right now. Well, not well by their standards, I should say. But he's been an absolute beast again, like he was against Scotland. I think the thing with Wales, which I found very interesting, I'm going to actually tee this up a little bit and talk about how Ireland looked different under Andy Farrell than they did under Schmidt. With Schmidt, they seem to have Schmidt. I mean, obviously it worked wonders. They got a grand slam. They beat the All Blacks, but Schmidt had a very set plan, and it was like, this is my set plan, and I'm sticking to this almost no matter what, regardless of the opposition in most cases. Whereas I noticed on yesterday, Farrell actually, from the first game against Scotland to this one, he tactically changed things up again. And I think he spotted there was an out-wide weakness in that Welsh defence. I mean, it was a kind of, because I would see how Wales were trying to defence. They were trying to target the Ireland at the breakdown, and in early doors it worked pretty well. Got a couple of penalties off the jackal and turnovers, but then Ireland just kept spotting that there was a weakness, and that was out wide. Wales were quite wide open on both wings, and they exploited it really well. Andrew Conway was excellent at getting in behind the Welsh defence. Stockdale the same. I think the first 10 minutes of the game, Stockdale touched the ball more times in 10 minutes than he did in 80 minutes against Scotland. So that says a lot about their tactics. But I mean, from a Wales point of view, do you see that as a worry? Like how there's clearly a weakness in that out wide defence now?
Yeah, definitely. I wrote in one of my notes while I was watching the game, absolutely. We were so narrow in our defence, and that ball out to Stockdale every single time. And he was always getting on the outside of North. North, we'll get onto him in a bit, but huge question marks about his starting place against France, for me personally. But yeah, it was strange because in the first 10, 15 minutes, yes, Ireland dominated with the ball, but I didn't feel like they were going anywhere. I didn't feel like they were really going to score. They weren't really creating anything. I felt we were really comfortable defensively. But it was when they were getting the ball out wide, so they were picking going, Murray into Tad Furlong or Murray into Ryan, someone like that, getting into the contact, cycling the ball, then Sexton and Henshaw, ball out wide quickly to Stockdale, Conway or Lama. And they were just getting in behind us, and then it was scrambling defence, and you defended and set, and then Ireland could exploit us from that. What Pivac has is he has his forwards out in wide positions when we attack, and the problem with that is when that quickly turns over to defending, then where you want your big tacklers, so the likes of Alan Wynne, of Tipperick, of Falatau, to be, you want them in the middle where they can get those big tackles in on the centres. That's not an option then, and suddenly you've got Alan Wynne trying to stop Stockdale, which just doesn't work because he's just going to outpace him every single day. So it is a concern. I think Ireland really noticed that and really exploited that. I felt like we dealt okay with it though, because Ireland didn't score off that as such, but it still put us in dangerous positions, and you'd feel like if Ireland had been playing better and had been more accurate in their attack, they could have got 2 tries in that first 15 minutes easily off that. But apart from that, our defence looked pretty solid on the whole, except for Nick Tompkins with the first try, which was an issue. Him flying out the line like that, as I said, if he holds his position, he stops the try and he tackles him. Although he did put a great tackling on Lama later on in the game, he still could have put a tackle in there. But lots of things to be learned. But again, credit to Ireland. I actually thought that Conor Murray had a decent game. I actually thought he controlled the game a lot more. And he really took the game by the scruff of the neck a lot more. And Sexton has come out and defended him this week and really backed him. So, yeah, Ireland just controlled the game. That was the big thing. They just controlled the game. And as Pivac said in his post-match, you need the ball to score tries, and we just didn't have enough. And the stats reflect that. Possession, 54% to Ireland. Territory, 56%. So Ireland just dominated, really, the whole game.
Yeah, pretty much. That's fair enough. The thing is, you're going back to a bit you mentioned Alan Wynne-Jones on the wing sometimes. I thought he still had a hell of a game. Something like 30 plus tackles he made in the game, which is absolutely immense. I think he was either the top tackler or among the top tacklers. Tipperick as well, I thought had a good game on the whole and deserved his try as well. But there was big concern. I think I don't want to say a concern, but it's an obvious transition thing that I spotted was there against a better defence in Ireland with regards to how many handling errors Wales were making. And there was just times there it was clear like Pivac's giving them license to throw the ball around, try like offloads and that, and play the ball quickly, because there were whereas you can tell there's still that Gatland mindset about them there, because there were some passes and offloads. I think like none of these players would have dreamed of doing that if Gatland was in charge. Whereas like with Pivac, he's obviously encouraged them to do that more. It worked brilliantly for that Thomas Williams try, of course. But and there's a lot of other cases like how many handling errors Wales made. Pardon me. Just the little knock-ons and just trying to throw the ball out when at times they should have just taken it into contact and went again. The set pieces from a Wales point of view as well I thought was a bit worrying, because I think Ireland's Van der Fleer's try, it all started really with an absolutely diabolical throw from Ken Owens. He just more or less threw it straight to, I think it was Henderson, he was the Ireland defensive jumper. And then Ireland...
Omani.
Pardon me. But a bit general point, that basically started Ireland's point of attack, and then they worked their way up the pitch, got a penalty, and then the driving maul got the try off that. So it's like little things like that, which I think from Wales' point of view they need to tighten up on. But it's, again, they had these issues against Italy, but it's not gonna work in later in the championship, I don't think.
Yeah, but as a Wales fan, I think most Wales fans understand it's a time of transition. Although we've had so much success in the past 12 years, part of them expected to go to Dublin and win. But Yeah, it's a time of transition. We have to understand that there's going to be teething problems, as you said. Some of these players have played the same way for Wales for the past 10 years plus. So from going from, okay, you get the ball, you go into contact, you get over the game line with a big centre, then you get the licence to go out wide. When Pivac say, if you see an opportunity, go for it. It's not in their DNA, it's not in their nature. Although a lot of the boys play for Scarlets, etc., and I've been under Pivac before, it's very different at international level. Just to pick up on one thing there that you were talking about, the handling errors, very, very strange that, because yes, you're playing a high-risk game and the offloading is nice, but simple things like when Alan Wynne, we won the line-out ball on our own 5-metre line. Alan Wynne kind of launches at Thomas Williams, but he should still catch it, and yet he drops it literally off his trying. Come on, basic things like that. Yeah. And it wasn't as if the weather was bad. You know what I mean? Like, we'll get on to the Scotland-England game where the weather was bad. But
even regardless of weather, that's just basic concentration, really, and communication as well. Because that one you alluded on, it was. I think it just looked. Thomas Williams was almost taken by surprise, just how it came down to him, and it's just. So it's just both a concentration and a communication thing, which was off there, and there was a few other times that happened as well with, like I said, with players clearly maybe having the Gatlin mindset is okay, we're going into contact, so we'll maybe reset and we'll go again. Whereas like there was an offload coming, there was times when it was a bit like, whoa, what's going on here? But when it works, it worked. I mean, the small number of times it worked well with the Thomas Williams try, but the Hadley Parks one. I mean, I know you think it was the right call. I mean, I'm not gonna lay blame into Roman Poit or the TMO for this at all, but I thought it was his third finger and his pinky had contact with the ball as it was on the ground, so therefore that's technically a try. But it was so tight that I think so it's a really, really tough one.
I was watching it on the Welsh broadcast, and the first two angles that the TMO showed looked quite good for Wales, and I was like, oh, we got this. And then the third one, you could just see where he just lost control of it, and you could see it just losing contact with the finger. It's so tight, and it's like the one where Ollie Vaughan's try against England last week, where it's so hard to tell if it's come off Courtney Laws or not, because you can't zoom in that much. And so you couldn't zoom in that much to be 100% sure, but Roman Poit, or Roman Twat as I like to call him, I just want to say a few things about this guy. Even if there hadn't have been him, we probably would have lost, but there's a few things I want to pick up on him. Two things that really pissed me off, right? First one, I think it's a driving maul first in Ireland's 22. Alan Wynne goes up, collects the ball, comes down. Peter Marley comes in at the side, and Roman Poit says, "Leave it, Peter, leave it." He says it 4 times, and then slowly but surely, O'Mahony decides to walk away from it, and then in the next phase of play, CJ Stander turns the ball over. Any other ref in the world would have given him one warning and said, right, that's it, advantage, straight away. The second one, Josh van der Fleer's try. He has grounded it, but what Roman Poit says to the TMO is really interesting. And maybe because he's French, maybe because his English isn't, maybe the way he says it isn't the way he means. But he goes to the TMO, he goes, I have no idea, but on-field decision is a try. I have no idea, but on-field decision is try. And I'm like, if you have no idea, you should surely be looking for a grounding, not looking for any reason not to award the try. It probably was a try, and Ireland deserved to win, so it's not me being bitchy, but I still think Roman Poit. I think he's makes some strange decisions, and sometimes you need someone like a Wayne Barnes or a Nigel Oates to be really clear, communicating, and say, look, you do this, you get penalised. No. And CJ Stander, how he was on the pitch for so long, I have no idea. He was so good, don't get me wrong. But the way that he just breakdown.
Sorry, Brian, I'm just going to challenge you slightly there, because Alan Wynne Jones said this in the post-match afterwards. It wasn't just CJ Stander so much. It was like when reading up to the Hadley Parks try, Ireland had given away a fair few penalties in their 22. So it's like, when does it reach the point where you get the card out and he just gives it right in the 79th minute? I can fully empathise with you why that would be a frustrating thing. With the Josh van der Fleer one, I think there was definitely, the ball looked like it shaded the grass a bit of it from what I saw. So I think that was fair enough. But you're right in that I think he asked the wrong question as well. Should have been is it a try, yes or no, or any reason I can't award the try? If it's a try, yes or no.
I think that you can't blame the ref really. I think Ireland would have won anyway. But you're right. It's just one or two little things like that.
I'm just saying you're right though. It's like, if you say no idea you can't say on-field decision is try after that.
And the thing with Peter and Marnie, you got to be more strict than that. You can't say, Peter, leave it, and then leave it, and then finally he walks away. You got to say, leave it, final warning, leave it, okay, advantage, and then he knows then. But mentioning about CJ Stander, what a game he had. Just turning the ball over, slowing the ball down. And in my preview, if anyone saw it, talking about the battle between him and Tipuric at the breakdown was going to be key to this one. And CJ Stander won it hands down. And he was brilliant throughout the game. And as I said, I thought Conor Murray had a good game as well for Ireland. Henshaw looked really physical. He just bumped Tompkins off him quite a few times. One little thing about Wales, I've already mentioned it a little bit, George North. He's really struggling at the minute. He's amazing on Rugby 20 on Xbox, but maybe not so good on the pitch at the minute. I think it's a confidence issue for me. He doesn't come in and look for the ball enough because he's low on confidence. I got his stats here quickly. 4 touches in the game, 6 meters made, 0 defenders beaten, 2 missed tackles, and 1 knock on. So it's not pretty reading, but he's just low on confidence. And I think we should have put Tompkins to start against Italy, because I still think we'd have won that comfortably. Hindsight's easy, isn't it? Hindsight's easy, but maybe put North on the wing there, give him a couple of tries. I know he did get one, but he just doesn't get involved in the game enough for me. And he's just low on confidence at the minute.
Yeah, it was a big blow losing Josh Adams in the first half, as he did. But I have to say, though, I thought Johnny McNichol came on. He actually looked pretty good in the game. He was very lively. He was getting involved. He was cutting inside, beating defenders. Whereas, I agree with you about George North. He just seems to be, sort of out on the wing, not really looking for much to do. And defensively as well. Stockdale, the times he was running at or around him, had him on toast for the most part. So I think, if you're going to make a change against for the French in a couple of weeks, I would, and if providing Josh Adams is fit, of course, I think you should drop George North and put Johnny McNichol on the wing. Would you say?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I would do. Halfpenny at fullback. I think Halfpenny's played really well, done absolutely nothing wrong. I don't think Liam Williams is going to be back for that one. I think he's back for the England game. So you'd have Halfpenny at fullback, Adams on the wing if he's fit, and Johnny McNichol as well. And then I guess George North can kind of be a centre option on the bench for us if we're really desperate for him. But he can also obviously play on the wing. So yeah, it's just really low on confidence. Being at the Ospreys, you probably are going to be low on confidence at the minute because they are shambolic. Yeah, it's strange for North. Obviously, burst onto the scene quite a few years ago now. But we just want to see him with the ball in hand, running at defenders, running over players, But yeah, those stats from Saturday's game obviously don't look great for him.
Yeah, and the thing is, because he's a big lad as well, it should be utilised more and be used to cut in from the wing, because he could be. Could have like if they need to change the point of attack, or you're just wanting a third centre or someone to get over the gain line, which he's perfectly capable of being effective as that option. And again, he just seems to, as you say, I mean, you have to also question: is there an extent? Is the coach telling him to just stay out in the wing, or is? But then you also look at likes of McNichol and Adams on the who were on both the left wing. Both of them, even though Adams was got injured, like both of them were constantly looking for work. They were looking to get involved. So I think it's a a George North thing more than a coaching thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, as I said, just low on confidence. But yeah, Josh Adams was a big blow for us. Just our ability to know if he's in the 22 and he's on a one-on-one, he's probably going to score. So you've got that. Bigger going off as well later on in the game with another HIA. I think that's like 3 or 4 in the past 6 months or so for him. So it's not looking great. Again, when North had the same thing a few years ago playing for Northampton. Yeah, so you'd expect Bigger to be back. We're not sure the extent on Josh Adams' injury. Owen Williams in the warm-up got injured, so he wasn't even on the bench in the end. So yeah, a few injuries mounting up for us now. But yeah, we got 2 weeks to really freshen up, to go again against France and see how we go.
Yeah, and it should be. We'll get onto the France-Italy game a bit later, but I think that's shaping up to be a very, very interesting game, I'd say. And at Cardiff, at the moment, I'd put Wales as slight advantage, but still 2 weeks away. So we'll see what happens then. With anything else you want to say on Ireland? Like I said, I mean, I thought they looked very, very good. They looked like they were adapting more, looking at the weak spots in the opposition rather than just sticking to the game plan. Defensively, still look very solid, and I think they should fancy their chances of possibly going on to win this tournament if they keep playing, keep it up. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. They were very, very solid throughout the game. They won the physical battle. That was going to be key. Always physical between Wales and Ireland. Absolutely won that. Their tries were somewhat typical Irish in a way. A driving maul and then Tad Furlong powering over. But yeah, Lama offers an attacking threat for them. Of course, Conway again offers an attacking threat. As I said, I thought Henshaw had a good game. CJ Standard. Yeah, what was brilliant, and he's just so frustrating to watch if he's not on your team. But Irish fans must absolutely love him, and but they were brilliant again. Their set piece were really strong, 10 out of 10 lineouts, and their scrums 7 out of 8. So really solid for Ireland. They were based their game against that, and what I really enjoyed was Sexton's performance, although he didn't score any tries or anything like that, but the way he was really commanding his forwards, commanding Murray on what to do and when to do it, and really just taking that leadership role, which I didn't think we saw that much against Scotland, but really taking it this week and really saying, this is my team, I'm going to take us to this victory. And yeah, as I said, Conor Murray had a good game. So Ireland, yeah, going to Twickenham with a bit of confidence, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. On Sexton, though, I mean, in terms of his on-field performance as a player and as captain of the team, I agree with you in terms of how he speaks to the refs sometimes, and then I wasn't impressed with how he I might be nitpicky here, but I wasn't impressed with how he so obviously clapped right beside Romain Poit. I know it wasn't directly to Romain Poit's place, but it's the way he just did it, like right beside him. After that Hadley Park's non. He's always been
a very feisty character, hasn't he? And I think that comes out of him a little bit. And sometimes as a captain, you need to be very clear-headed and very calm in that situation, know which battles to fight. I think one of the best captains we've seen over the past 10 years was Sam Warburton. I thought his way of talking to refs, I think it was the Lions series in 2013, where who was the New Zealand captain?
2017, you mean? If it was
2017, sorry.
Yeah, it was Kieran Reid. He
got his name.
Kieran Reid.
Sorry. Him and Kieran Reid are talking to the ref, and the way that Warburton just talks to the ref, explains what he thinks simply, and then lets the ref to get on with his job. It's just the right way. There's respect, and also there's, look, this is what I think, so I'm going to give you my opinion because I'm the captain, but I'm going to respect your decision. And I think Sexton lacked that a little bit. But I think that's just more of his personality. He's a feisty character. Warburton maybe a little bit more reserved. But yeah, Ireland really positive for them. And they'll, as I said, go to Twickenham with a lot of confidence.
Yeah, I mean, there was times though when I was thinking when he was speaking to Poit, I was kind of thinking if that was me on the pitch, I might have got to the point where I told him, like, back you go, I've had enough of you. But the thing is, I want to touch very briefly on Warren Platt's performance again, because there was things Wales did that he missed as well. I thought he had a very mixed bag of the game, but I thought in terms of discipline, he kept things mostly under control. But again, you could argue he should have put a yellow card out sooner. But that's all I've got to really say on that. But yeah, so I think we're in agreement that going into the match at Twickenham, Ireland can be very confident, and they should be. I see no reason why they can't beat this England team, even though England won. The game we're going to come on to now, which was one of the worst games I've seen in ages. Absolutely diabolical, shocking. I've got 2 videos out on this already. If you like a mini rant, just go and watch it. So what did you think of the Scotland-England game, Brandon?
I've got a question for you. Have you calmed down yet?
Yes. just a little bit.
Look, this game was atrocious. It was awful. Weather was shocking, pissing down constantly. Wind was howling. Basically, summertime in Scotland. That's what it was. But look, look, it wasn't a great game, and Scotland may count themselves unlucky. England may count themselves lucky. But the reality was, whoever's going to try in this game was going to win, because there weren't going to be many tries at all. Scotland, it's very difficult to know what to say, because the situation, the conditions that this game was in, it was so hard to know how to gauge the performance, in my opinion. Although you feel like Scotland maybe should have won this, because at one point they were dominating the game quite a bit. They had England in the 22. They were winning their line-out ball finally, which we'll get on to in a bit. So it's possibly maybe Scotland should have got it, but England maybe count themselves lucky. But looking at the stats quickly, Scotland 55% possession, throughout the game 60% territory, so you were in the right areas of the pitch a lot of the time. 8 penalties conceded though, which isn't great, and you only won 11 out of 19 line-out, which is not acceptable at this level. Even though the weather was crap, it's still not acceptable.
Sorry, Brandon. That's not an excuse for me though for throwing at the back constantly, because on the wet weather day that makes absolutely zilch sense. Why you even do that anyway? I mean, it's partly what cost us the World Cup quarter final in 2015 when we threw to the back on a wet day. It's just, I mean, I don't know what either the coaches are coaching them, or what is going through the players' minds when they're constantly doing that. And it gave us up a lot of like chances. It gave us a lot of territory, and also, I mean, it was just so much dumb stuff. I mean, I get, as we said, wet weather. It's not going to be an exciting, fast-flowing game, but you've got to still keep it tight and just concentrate more on the basics. And we didn't do that. And also, you've got to be smart in your decision making. We weren't that either. Like at 3-0 down, we had a penalty which was very kickable, and we went for the corner. And then from the resulting line out, it just went down. England went over legally and just won. I think it was the scrum they won off it. So that was a waste. And then later on, we just had coughed up so much possession. We're just so just inaccurate. It boils my blood. And then that mistake at the end by Stuart Hogg, which led to the 5-meter scrum which England score from. It's just basic stuff, really. I mean, even on a wet day, I understand the ball's a bit of a bar of soap, but it just really requires that often the mistakes we made, just that bit of concentration, just to make sure you're getting it right. And at that level, this isn't like schoolboys rugby here. This is international rugby. You know, they're not strangers to playing at this kind of environment. Neither team is. So, you have to keep it tight and concentrate a bit more. So that's what I felt as well from both sides. There weren't any leaders on the pitch. Nobody taking the game by the scruff of the neck and saying, right, this is what we're going to do. We're going to pick and go, or we're going to give it to this person. He's going to crash over the line. And when, as you said, that opportunity at 3-0 down, what makes sense is get points on the board, make England come at you. And yet there were no leaders on the pitch to do that.
But with the Stuart Hogg incident, I was screaming at the TV, just pick the ball up, just pick it up. There's no need to let it bounce. It was probably not going over the try line. Maybe the communication from, maybe it was Kinghorn alongside him, not sure.
I don't think that was.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I think you're right. It was Kinghorn. I don't think that was an issue at all because just the way the ball was going, it's like Hogg, that is your ball. The Kinghorn was like wasn't close enough to him that he was stopping flow at all. I mean, he wasn't sort of interrupting where the ball was bouncing or getting in his way at all. So I mean, I just think that's your ball. You have to deal with it.
Yeah, but what maybe I'm suggesting is that maybe Kinghorn needs to communicate, or maybe he did try and communicate. Who knows? But communicate. Look, you need to pick this ball up because it's probably not going to go dead. He's very, very lucky. Very lucky. Very lucky.
I was going to say a bit of double bluff because it was unlucky because they got the try off the resulting scrum. So after the resulting scrum, I should say. No, I mean, I think yes and no, like with Kinghorn's communication, but at the same time, you think Hogg is the captain, so he should be, setting the example. Like this is my ball. I'm leading the team, and he just, sort of like just had a brain fart, and then it just. It was just really, really quite infuriating, to be honest. And then there was just other things as well, like not catching the high balls. I think Maitland dropped something like 2 or 3 high balls, and like all of them very catchable. So you just think, and a player of his ability, even in wet weather, he should be catching them 8 or 9 times out of 10, and he just didn't do that. And then, as you say, when we had the ball, no creativity. We got to certain points at times, but then players made breakthroughs, and then just no creativity, no quality when we got into England 22, and it just was just costly in the end. Whereas England, when they had their one chance, I don't remember them getting to our 22 all that often. Apart from that try, they took it. So credit to them there, but. Even so, I'm going to talk a bit about England. From an English point of view, a lot of them I know are happy they won, but they're not raving about the performance. I would be saying that, sort of, there's still a lot to improve on, that they definitely don't look a good team right now at all, I'd say.
Yeah, absolutely agree with you. And just to jump back a bit, the big issue I've said before with leaders on the pitch, and I felt like Hogg didn't take enough responsibility
that's fair.
Throughout the game, and saying, look, this is what we're going to do, this is how we're going to play, this is how we're going to get the points. Because when Scotland picked and go near England's 22, you got some success. You got over their game line quite a few times with your forwards, but there's no support runners coming alongside. And maybe they felt they were a bit afraid to try and throw the ball out just because of the weather and things like that, and thinking, we won't get another chance, I'll keep the ball in hand, etc. But sometimes when you're in the 22, you just got to go for it. It's unlikely that the team are going to run from their own 22 to score, so you just got to go for it in that position. England, it's a win, as Eddie Jones says, and as Owen Farrell, I think, alluded to. Ellis Genge's post-match interview was interesting. I'm a fan of it. I think it's good for the game. But obviously it made the BBC pundits shift a little bit uncomfortably in their seats while being referred to as sausages. Look, he did well. He came on and just took it and just said, right, we're just going to power over. We're going to be English. We're going to be bullish. We're just going to power over here. And it wasn't the game to throw it out wide. But England looked poor, and I felt Scotland were the better team. I
wouldn't say either was the better team. Really, I mean, Scotland maybe had more territory, but it was just when we just killer instinct again, just next to no quality. But England, as I said, I mean they were terrible with their kicking game. I think I counted like 3 or 4 times they kicked it out on the full. Hines didn't make much of an impact at 9, to be honest, at all, coming in for Youngs. Ford and Farrell just look pale shadows of the players they can be. And it was just Furbank, I will say, though I thought was a wee bit better than he was against France, but still he's it looks like he's still finding his feet in international rugby, so he's got a bit of a way to go. But
Yeah, with the scrum half situation, Eddie Jones just seems set in his ways of who he's going to pick in that position. It's Ben Jones or Willie Hines. Ben Spencer's at Sarries, and he's brilliant, and there are so many options that they've got across the Premiership.
Dan Robson at Wasps as well.
And there's a young lad at Northampton as well. I can't remember his name. I'm not sure if he's injured though. But Eddie Jones's contract runs out a year before the World Cup. So what is Eddie thinking? Is he thinking that 4-year plan? Is he thinking, right, success for the next 2 years and then see how that goes, see if I can get a new contract or not? Or what is he thinking? Who knows? But he just seems so stuck in his ways. Playing Curry F8 again, project player and all this kind of rubbish. I'm not a fan of it. I just think you've got to be saying, okay, there are some class 8s out there. Nathan Hughes at Bristol now, I believe. A couple of years ago was an incredible form, and he's still playing okay now, but he's an option. He's a natural number 8. It then allows Curry to play in his natural position where you're going to get the best out of it. It just makes sense to do that.
Yeah, I agree. And the thing is, they have got other number 8s as well, because Sam Simmons is playing for Exeter again. He's playing well for Exeter again. Nathan Hughes, as you mentioned, he has been playing well for Bristol. So I think I know there's a lot of focus says when he plays in an England shirt, he's not been that great. And to be fair, there's some technical aspects of his game where he's fallen short of in international rugby. And also you've got that Alex Dandbrat. The Harlequins. I'm terrible at pronouncing his name. Pardon me. But he's going well at Harlequins right now. So it's not like there's no one else there. But I mean, again, Tom Curry, he did a bit better in his carries when he had the opportunity yesterday. But apart from that, just at 8, there still can tell just with the angles of running and the angles of defending as well. He just clearly doesn't suit as much, and he's not making the impact. Like, at the World Cup, the impact he makes over a ball, because he's an excellent jackler. He's just not doing that at 8 so much. So I'd say, getting back to 6 and getting one of the other guys we mentioned at 8, if I was Eddie Jones. But
definitely, I thought one of Curry's best games was against us in last year's Six Nations, where he scored a try and he just kept turning the ball over, slowing the ball down. So frustrating. We did win in the end, which is okay, but still, that's where he's best at on the pitch. You want him in that position. But Eddie Jones just seems stubborn in his ways, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's an Aussie thing or if it's an Eddie Jones thing. I don't know.
I think it's an Eddie Jones thing.
But I know a lot of England. I know a lot of England fans are very frustrated with him, and lots of questions to be asked. And in a way, it may have done England good to have lost this game, and Eddie Jones really to look at it, because this win, he may think, oh, we won, so I did something right. In reality, both teams played poor, and nobody did anything really right throughout the game, to be honest.
Yeah, it's going to be, but that's the thing. In 2 weeks' time against Ireland, that's going to be where I think we're going to gauge more about where England really are at. I mean, back at Twickenham against an Ireland team that are back in good form, it's going to be. And the fact is, England know they have to step up in this game, and if they don't, Ireland will beat them. So that's obviously, and at Twickenham as well. I mean, I think that, I don't want to say it's going to favour England to win, but it will help them a bit, the fact it's at Twickenham. But again, they have to step it up and do better. Otherwise, Ireland are going to basically beat them up pretty well, I'd say. So, yeah, I mean...
Yeah, definitely.
And with regards to Scotland, of course, we go to Italy in a couple of weeks' time. At the moment, it's looking like it's going to be a possible wooden spoon decider. But, I mean, I'm sticking to the opinion that if Gregor Townsend doesn't win at least two games this championship, I think he should go. Because it shows we're not making progress if we're just back down there with Italy near the basement of the Six Nations. But I've seen the thing on Finn Russell, though. It doesn't look like he's going to be back anytime soon.
I have, yeah. I've just got it up here on my laptop. I'll just read a little bit for everyone to hear. Finn Russell obviously has come out and said has written an article with someone on the situation. So for those who don't know, kicked out of the Scotland squad because he came back drunk or hungover. Was given the option to stay in camp, but said he wouldn't play against Ireland. Decided to leave, went and played for Racing last weekend, and then was told on Monday this week, I believe, that he wouldn't be taking part in the Calcutta Cup. This is what he had to say. He said, 8 years I've had him, so talented as a coach, and I don't really know him at all. I want the best of Scotland, so I question the environment to try and make it better. So him and Townsend have clashed quite a lot, him saying one thing, me saying another. It's come to a point where I'm saying you can be you and I'm going to be me. That's how this relationship is going to be. Well, it's not really a relationship. So it doesn't sound good. It doesn't look like Finn Russell is going to play in this Six Nations. Maybe not under Townsend again. I don't know if there's any coming back from that. So yeah, you're missing a quality player. He is just a quality player. Would he have made a difference yesterday? I'm not too sure. But he's just a quality player to have. When it's dry and the weather is good and he has the platform to play, we see week in, week out with Racing what he can do. We saw last year in the Six Nations what he can do. So yeah, it's a massive shame. I think Hastings has done well stepping into the role, but I can't see him playing in this Six Nations and probably not in the Townsend ever again, to be honest.
Yeah, the Townsend ever again thing, time will tell in that regard, but I mean, it is like a shame because we're not a nation blessed with world-class talent, and Finn Russell is one of those who is a genuine world-class talent on his day. And I think, I mean, there's a lot of folk who saying like, oh, you should respect the coach and that, but the thing is though, when you actually look at it, it's like, is the coach producing the results? Like, because the big, they had this, it's known about this fallout now they had last year at the England-Scotland game at Twickenham, where it was 31-7 at half-time to England, and then Finn Russell inspired us to come back, and it finished 38-38. So, and Townsend obviously had a falling out with, Russell had a falling out with Townsend at half-time, and you think, well, given the final result, is Finn Russell right? Maybe he is here, because he's maybe got a point. So I think it's, again, I mean, a lot of folks say, no, you should respect the coach, which I can understand, but at the same time, you have to look at the coach and think, is he producing the performance? Is he getting the best out of this team?
Yeah.
And in the last year, I'd say absolutely not. That's just what I think. And
no, and I would say, as you said, if he doesn't get 2 wins, I would expect you to go to Rome and probably win, to be honest.
I don't know.
But I mean, it's a possibility you could lose that one, and then certainly if you lose against Italy, then you're probably not going to beat us at home, and then you have to. Do you have France at home or away?
We have France at home.
France at home, but that's again not an easy game. Depending how France have gone, they may have come on to that with 3 wins on the bounce. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting over the next few weeks to see how you guys do and what that means for Townsend. I think if you don't get, you have to beat Italy away to start with, but Parise will be up for that one. Obviously, Italy will be up for that one because of Parise, and they see that as a game they will target. Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see. But the question is, who comes in, who replaces him? We obviously saw Rassi Erasmus in the crowd on Saturday, which was interesting. Obviously, talks about the Springboks joining the Six Nations, which I think is stupid, in my opinion.
I agree with you.
But Rassi, you know,
no, he's not. He's not coming to Scotland. Come on, man. I'm a realist. We've not got the cash. It's all in Mark Dodson's pocket. Anyway, I'm not going.
What did you say no aloud?
I was gonna say, yeah. That's just I'm not getting into a long rant about the SRU because we could be here all night. So I'll leave that there just now. But I'm just standing by the opinion that if Gregor Townsend doesn't win more than 2 games, doesn't win at least 2 games, then he should be given the boot, because it's not showing we're making progress. The players we have, even though there's a lot of issues off the field, in Scottish rugby right now. The actual, like, if you look on paper at the players we have, you think this is a team that on their day can be competitive with anyone. Not necessarily beat anyone, but we can be competitive with anyone. And the way we're sort of like sliding down some of the performances we've had. I think honestly, when he first took over, Gregor Townsend, he had a bit of lady luck on his side with the foundations of the team still being there under Vern Cotter. But after about a year or so, that wore off, of course, and now he's got the plants of the seeds himself, and there's some areas, I see like where they're doing some good things, but also it's just the discipline in the team is the biggest problem for me, and that's not necessarily just with giving away penalties. That's more with making sure you're doing the basics accurately, making sure that you're smart with your decision making as to what to do on penalties, and to make sure that you're retaining the ball. You're securing your own ball consistently in the match. Obviously, all players make mistakes. There's going to be times, but it's like you have to make sure that you're consistent enough, because a lot of the mistakes we make, which are just consistent mistakes, they're mistakes that most other teams they don't make at the same rate whatsoever. It's like you might see it's like the 8 lineouts we lost on against England. You might see like Ireland, they might just lose one. Wales, to be honest with you, they weren't the best at the lineout, but still, it's going to be what am I saying? But Wales, that they're going to try and respond to that if their lineout's not going as well. Even though it didn't quite work against Ireland, and also if Wales mess up the lineout, that's going to be a key factor as well. Sorry, I've rambled on a bit there, but no, basically just saying when we make mistakes and we make bad decisions, it costs us badly, and we're doing it too consistently, too often in games, and at this level, it's really not good enough.
Yeah, but you look across your team, so you got Hogg, class, he's class. Johnson on his day can be class. Finn Russell at 10, if he's playing, is class. Then you look at the forward, Hamish Watson is class. Richie is certainly class. Gray can be class. You've got some good players. Darcy Graham on the wing is class. You've got some good players, and really you should be doing so much better than this, especially at home. You feel like if you can make Murrayfield a fortress, like we've made the Principality, or as everyone calls it, the Millennium a fortress, that will make a massive difference for you guys. But fifth in the table, 2 points so far. It's not looking good. Italy away, it's a potential banana skin, isn't it? Would you make any changes to the team looking forward?
Yes, I would. I would bring back Darcy Graham onto one of the wings. I'm assuming he's going to be fit. Of course, I'd bring Finn Russell back, but with current regime right now, I don't see that happening. I'd give Rory Hutchison a go at 13. Because Hugh Jones right now just looks so off the pace, and he just, I'm not that impressed with him right now. Forwards, I probably wouldn't change too much. Maybe get a new hooker in who can actually throw the ball in the line out well. But the forwards, apart from that, there's none of them that have done enough to suggest to me that they should be booed out. So I'd keep more or less the same pack apart from the hooker. I'd probably go as far as bringing George Turner, who's the third choice in our squad, second choice at Glasgow. I'd go as far as to bringing him in after how badly both McInally and Brown have done at the line-out throw-in. But apart from that, no, I'd pick with pretty much the same pack to play Italy, and the back line changes I've already mentioned. So.
Oh, okay.
And maybe
talking about Italy,
maybe bring George Horn in at 9, but.
Okay.
But
talking about Italy obviously lost today 22-35 against France. Due to work, unfortunately, I missed most of this one until the last 20 minutes or so. Sum up the game for me. How did you feel it went?
It was a very, I'd describe it up as a very French kind of game. They had moments when they were absolutely brilliant and moments where they were absolutely diabolical. Italy were definitely an improvement from the team that beat Wales, but still, at times, naivety in their forwards cost them. Their poor defending cost them. they just like still don't look like they have the quality and depth and quality of depth, but they did have their moments in this match where they did do very well. They targeted France at the line out well, like England did. France's line out still an absolute shambles, but it was also that's an intelligence thing as well, because one of France's tries, the Romain Ntamak try, don't know if you saw it, was the one line out they didn't compete in Italy for some reason. Then France got a rolling maul on, and then Ntamak stepped and did what he did and scored the try there. But yeah, from France's point of view, very French, dominant the first 20 minutes, absolutely all over the game, as well as getting it right with Dupont was absolutely running the show for the first 20-30 minutes. He had another excellent game. Aldrit had another excellent game. He was on top of just about every breakdown. And then, and then after about 20 minutes with a 13-0 up, they just seemed to fall asleep a bit. and then the first Italian try was from a French defensive error, which Sean Edwards would be. I wouldn't have surprised if he gave a right rollicking to Teddy Thomas on that one, with the way he shot out of the line and just left the wide open space out wide. And then the other apart from the first half tries were all well taken tries, but the second half both tries really just from individual brilliance. Obviously Romain Ntamak sidestepping, and then Baptiste Serine with a wonderful individual piece of vision and skill to get that try. So yeah, I think looking at this, France clearly show there still flaws there. I think their fitness is still a problem with them, which they're needing to work on. I mean, because but that's the thing, I thought the fitness wasn't a problem against England until like the last 20 minutes or so, but even then they were still keeping their shape and still making the tackles, and this one they were just like in and out, like really just like, and at times just looked bored in trying to be intense at the breakdown and trying to put Italy on the back foot. It was just like I said, really French performance.
Yeah, I saw the highlights afterwards on the TV. What I can understand exactly what you say. First 20 minutes really, really up for it. Went to sleep for a bit, and then Italy came into the game. France killed the game off. Italy came back, but not quite enough in the end. France, jouer, they just want to play this nice rugby, but sometimes you have to do the hard work to earn the right to play, to earn the right to go out wide. Ntamak, I just saw some of the stats of his kicks weren't great today. He had
a shocker off the tee, yeah. He had an absolute shocker off the tee.
Yeah, and but I think that comes with like experience and practice.
The thing is, it was a very windy day as well. There was one end of the Stade de France where it was just clearly blowing it away from the posts, so that didn't help anything. But there were still a couple of kicks. I mean, there was one Allen missed as well, and there was a couple of Ntamak missed. You think at that level, there's no excuse for you missing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're both in absolute agreement that Dupont is world class, and his ability to just see the opportunity, know what to do at the right time, the way he connects the forwards to the backs, his understanding with the mark from their time at Toulouse, obviously. He is probably going to be the best scrum half in the world in the next 3 years.
I mean, if he keeps going, absolutely. I mean, it's not just that; his defensive work rate is absolutely phenomenal. He was, and the thing is, that was like something that was really weird. When he was trying to lead the line in defense, he was leading the line in charge downs for kicks, and it's just like this is a number 9, and he was just absolutely everywhere. So no, he's absolutely.
So he's aggressive.
So absolutely.
He's aggressive in defense. And just the way that he snipes around, defensive very aggressive in his defence, like Kraft de Klerk, for instance, but then just attacking ability, the way he can control the game, see the snipes. He's been brilliant so far this tournament, reason why France are probably doing so well. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. There's going to be a much tougher test, obviously, for them in Cardiff, you'd think. That's a completely different ball game, but with Sean Edwards inside, whether they'll understand what he's saying to them is another matter. But just quickly looking at the stats. Just quickly looking at the stats, it's actually really interesting reading. Possession-wise, Italy had more of the ball, 55%, which really surprised me. Territory was equal 50% each. France's scrums and lineouts were pretty solid. 2 out of 2 scrums, 14 out of 15 lineouts. Both teams missed a few tackles. 23 for France and 22 for Italy.
No,
so
mate,
it seemed like a messy game.
Okay, just make a point on France's lineout. That stat might say that, but France's lineout in general was still really bad. Because it was even when they won the ball, there was a lot of times it was just bouncing back and just bouncing loose for anyone to take it. And then there was a couple of times Italy managed to get their hands in and steal it. One of them was quite easy, but I mean, and even like I said there, and there was times the communication after the throw had been taken when it was just off and they didn't seem to know what they were doing. So I'd say their line out is still an area France need to work on. And if Wales, I mean, a couple of weeks' time, if Wales's defensive jumpers, if Wales' coaches do their homework and their defensive jumpers are on their game, they could definitely cause that French line out a few problems.
Yeah, my big takeaway from the game was it's quite a messy game. It was very up and down, and there wasn't obviously France dominated that first 20 minutes. Italy came back. Italy were improved, and to be honest, they couldn't be much worse than last week. And they got their runners. I thought Tommaso Allen had a bit more of an impact in the game. We saw that for, I think it was Minozzi's try, where he gets the offload off. Okay, it's not a clean offload, but Hayward picks it up. That's Minozzi. Question marks on the French defence, where the defenders at that point, but Italy were improved. The Franco Smith ways to try and play attacking rugby. You kind of think that going forward they'll be okay maybe, but defensively there's still a lot of issues for Italy to work out ahead of you guys going over there. But yeah, France will certainly take the win. I think what the crowd expected was an absolute thrashing. I did on one of the predictor things. I think I said France by 29 or something like that. So it wasn't quite that much, but it's still a comfortable win. Top of the table with 9 points. Probably would not have expected that at the start of the tournament. So they will absolutely take that. But yeah, it's going to be interesting of the rest of the campaign to see how they do.
Absolutely. And I think that like with England against Ireland, I think that test in Cardiff is going to gauge where France are at. I think in a lot of how much they've improved under the Galtier and Edwards and Servat and Ibanez, pardon me, era, and how far they've still got to go to 2023. Because, I mean, the thing is, French renowned for not travelling well, and going to Cardiff, haven't won there since 2010, something like that. I don't think they've won. I don't think they've.
Ages ago.
Yeah.
Ages ago.
That's something I don't.
I can't remember the last time. I can't actually remember the last time.
2010, I think it was. But interesting fact there. Yeah. The last time they won in Cardiff, they went on to win the Grand Slam. So. So that'll be.
Ooh, very interesting.
So that's the
thing about this French team is they're so young as well. That's something we've got to remember. And so decision making on the pitch, that leadership, that the captain Olivon has played well, but sometimes he needs to really galvanise the team that little bit more to have that extra effort. But the reality was against Italy, they didn't need to play at the same intensity that they needed to against England, especially in defence. So they didn't need to do that. And any excuse to be lazy, the French all up for it. Did I just say that out loud? Whoops.
Yeah. I was going to say that's something Sean Edwards is going to be having fun with the next 4 years.
Yeah. But this French team is really, really exciting. Untermac, Dupont, the fullback Boutier, Olivon, Aldrit at 8 was fantastic again today. It's a really exciting French team, and they're only going to get better. That's the reality. And it's the fitness. They can get the fitness up, and probably the Six Nations is too soon for them. Although it's very early, I still think we'll beat them in Cardiff. I think it's going to be tough for them, but I think that I think that it's a really exciting time for French rugby, and if the crowd can stay on side with them, then they can go come to Cardiff, see what happens there, and see how they go. But I think it's going to be, as you said, that's going to be the game that really sees where France are at the minute, and see how they really are getting on.
Yeah, and from Wales's point of view as well, I expect them to, in terms of game plan, try and stick with what Pivac's looking for. But of course, I think the Wales flaws that were against Ireland are very fixable, I'd say. Obviously, it won't be like perfect. Nothing is in rugby, but with regards to handling errors, that's just often about just making sure you execute basics and concentrate, and knowing when to offload instead of at times just throwing the ball wide for the sake of just wanting to get rid of it. That needs to be looked at. And also defensively as well, I think there's clearly a flaw in that out wide defence for Wales right now that they need to shore up. Otherwise, France have got the players to hurt them there, and it's possible that Damien Penaud could be back for France for that game. So with both Penaud and Thomas on the wings, that would be
yeah.
What a thought.
Yeah, that could be interesting. And then Dupont at 9 and Tamak at 10 running circles around poor George North. No, thank you. But yeah, just the fixtures point to, so there's a break obviously next weekend. So a break from Six Nations, and nobody knows what to do on them weekends, honestly. But yeah, so the fixtures in 2 weeks' time. Ireland travel to Twickenham on the Saturday, and Wales welcome France. And then on the Sunday, Scotland have to travel to Italy. Just quickly going over them.
I think it's England, Ireland on the Sunday, and Scotland, Italy, and France, Wales on the Saturday.
It is, sorry, I just completely misread my notes. Yeah, so you're right there. Just quickly looking over the fixtures, not predictions as such, but how do you see them going, and what do teams need to do in between them to ensure they get victories?
In between then, I think we've covered most of that already. I think, I don't know, the Scotland-Italy one, I'm finding a hard one, because Italy did look a lot better against France. I think at home they'll be really up for that. If Sergio Parisse if that's going to be his swan song, that's going to make them even more up for that. So I think I don't know. I think if because that's the thing, we've got, like, we're the only team right now who still hasn't scored a try this championship. I think that duck will end, but will it be enough to beat the Italians in Rome? It's going to be interesting. I think I'd give the edge to Scotland right now, but I don't know. A couple of weeks' time, we'll see. That'll certainly be.
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
Wales, France. I think Wales slightly have the edge, mainly just because it's at home, and in fitness wise, I still see Wales as being ahead of this French team. And there's there's a few other departments as well. I think Wales will execute things better at home than they did against Ireland. It's just natural things seem to play home better. And the other one, as we said, I think the edge is to Ireland, but I don't want to call it a strong prediction on this, because I go again, and they're all going to be very, very interesting games, and I think it will be like one or two moments that will decide all of them. Unless France don't turn up in Cardiff, then Wales should beat them comfortably. But if the France of the first 60 minutes against England turn up, then it's going to be a really interesting game, that one. And so that's what I think.
Yeah, definitely. I think talking about the Italy-Scotland game, what could be interesting there is if Italy score first. That would make it very, very interesting. The crowd getting on their back and supporting them more, and then the pressure's on Scotland and thinking, oh no, we're going to lose to Italy. We've been crap so far. Well, not totally crap, but obviously. So that would be interesting. Then France, again, depends what France turns up. I do think we have the edge. I think France's fitness, if the game's close to 60 minutes, we know our fitness is incredible. That's something that Gatland really instilled in us, was our fitness. So I'd be confident with that. And England, Ireland, obviously you got to give the edge to Ireland at the minute, but England at home are a completely different beast. And when they're singing that stupid song "Swing Low," which just winds me up, when they're singing that, England tend to play okay. So it's going to be an interesting few games.
Absolutely. I think that has more or less just covered us everything. We'll probably have another podcast in a couple of weeks, looking ahead to the week 3 of the Six Nations. But thanks very much for listening, guys. Hope you like what I had to say. It provides some insights, somewhat entertainment, and interesting information. I always think audiences just take what you want out of it. That's the way I roll. But thanks for listening, guys. We'll catch you later on. Okay, that's just.